How does dilution work? All right. First off, I'm not your attorney. I'm not your CPA. I'm just a guy that owns a business formation service that is providing generally accepted information based off of questions that we get in the website or on other platforms. Jumping into this, dilution and why dilution is a thing. Specifically, this individual is referring to ownership. Okay. Um, so let's say ABC Tile is an LLC and John owns 100% of it. And he wants to sell 25% of it to Tiffany. He can do that very easily with a change amendment to the operating agreement. If you want to know about all the stuff, there are other videos that we have that discuss the ins and outs of the operating agreement stuff. The fact that we're talking about dilution means you probably already know about this stuff. If you don't, we have videos about this or about how LLCs and corporations are formed and exist and yada yada yada. Okay, so John owns 100%. He wants to sell 25% to Tiffany. This is a very easy process. He comes to us. He uses our live dashboard. He goes and says, add a member. Members are owners. Managers are operators. So in an LLC, he's saying, I'm adding a member. And this new member is 25% owner. And so my ownership goes from 100 to 75, and this new member gets 25. That will create a little payment screen that says, you're going to do a change amendment to the operating agreement. You're going to add a member. That'll be $199. He says yes. We generate the legal documents, and then they both sign the documents. That has been executed, and now she owns 25% and he owns 100. I'm sorry. She owns 25% and he owns 75%. That's a very easy transaction to make. Nothing is diluted. 100% is 100% is 100% is 100%. So an LLC assumes that units, there are exceptions to this, so don't take this as gospel. An LLC assumes, 100 units. 100%, 100 units, pretty cut and dry. You can go outside of that, but again, that's something more complex that I'm not going to talk about. Where dilution comes in is more along the lines of if we start creating new units. Okay, so let's go ahead and so in a business of two, that's a lot easier. Or like one person bringing on another person, he is the only one that needs to be consulted by himself to create or to change ownership. Now, if we have a new individual that comes in the picture and he wants to sell, this person wants to buy 25% of the company, but John doesn't want to sell his. Let's remember where we're at here. He owns 75% and she owns 25%. This person wants to buy 25% of the company. John can sell this stick man 25% to make it. He can sell, 25 of his percent to make that, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to. Sell. How do I want to do this? Let's make, just to make my life easier. Let's say this is how this is right now. So John wants to sell this new investor 50% of the business. All right. He can sell his 50%, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to own 25% of the business. He wants Tiffany to own 25% of the business, and this person owns 50% of the business. So they're each going to have to kind of take a lick and do this. Now, Tiffany might not be cool with that. And so both of them would have to sign off on that. And if she's not cool with that, then she's not cool with that. So that brings us to kind of the crux of when you add people in an LLC, you kind of have to get everybody's sign off unless you're only selling your portion of the business. Even then, even if you're selling your portion of the business, there might be something in the operating agreement, the rules of the LLC, that say you cannot sell your portion of the business to somebody else unless they also get the same right to sell their share. Because Tiffany doesn't want you screwing up the business and then taking your golden parachute out and leaving her solo because the business relies on you and then she's kind of SOL. So there are those rules that are in place sometimes. Now, this is why dilution is a thing, is because as you start adding more stickmen to the business, stickmen is code for VCs because VCs are stickmen. As you start adding these people, every time you bring someone new on board, you're going to have to get, at first, you just had to sign it with Tiffany. Now, you and Tiffany both had to sign it to add Stickman Guy. Then all three of you had to sign to add Stickman Bob. And then all four of y'all got to sign to add Stickman Carl. It just gets a lot. And so in a growing company that's taking a lot of VC, where they're raising venture capital or investment every 6, 12, 18 months, it just becomes a can of worms to get everybody's signatures and whatnot. And then it just gets really confusing. And so that is where dilution comes in. And dilution just refers to, ownership of shares. Okay. So you can do this with an LLC or a corporation. I'm not going to explain how to do this with an LLC because it's unnecessary, but with a corporation is kind of where this is more used. All right. So let's say we've got each one of these shares refers to one share. All right. So these are all the shares that exist. Okay. 3 shares is 100% of the shares. But we want to add a new investor, and we don't want to have to get all of the signatures. All right. So we just print another share. So originally, these 3 shares were 100% of the business. And now, because I printed one more share, now 3 shares is 75% of the business, and 4 shares is 100% of the business. And so the original share that I owned, that was 33.3% of the business, is now 25% of the business. So the conversion of that one share from being that percentage of the business to this percent of the business is dilution. And so that's how dilution works. If you have further questions about this, please ask in the comments below. But if you liked this video, please share it, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Get a corporation or an LLC from Better Legal. I'd love it. But until then, I will talk to you in the next video.